If you like to make your NFL games a little bit more interesting, you've come to the right place. It's the Even Money Podcast with Ross Tucker and Steve Fezzik.
Yeah, Vegas, baby, Vegas. It is the Even Money Betting Podcast, the show that's so nice. We do it twice for you guys every week. Tuesday mornings, we record at 8:25 a.m. Eastern Time typically. Why am I telling you that? Because we're going to let you know with the line moves why it's so critical that you have the notifications turned on, whether it's on your podcast app or youtube.com/Ross Tucker NFL. However you enjoy the show, you need to make sure you're subscribed, notifications on, so you listen or watch ASAP before some of these lines move. Tuesdays, we always do a recap of how we did the week before, which, by the way, we were up double digits. And by the way, Steve, before I forget, Grades emailed me, you did in fact push on that Falcons game. So that is 2 more units for you that you did not lose last week in the Falcons-Colts over in Germany. It was a push, not a loss, with the Falcons plus the 6. But the point is, if you got the notifications turned on, you can get in right when we post the show before the lines move. We'll get to the line movement momentarily. Tuesday, we do the recap of the week that was. Then we give you all of our bets against the spread, totals, as well as teaser legs. Sometimes, though, if there is significant line movement, we actually go ahead and put a couple more bets in today. Today, it's all about the line movement. Then we have Dr. David Chao from SixScore.com. Then we'll get into Steve's props and parlays, which have been pretty good as well. But Steve, let's start with the line movement. Feels like there's been a decent amount. Let's start with tonight's game with the Miami Dolphins not playing because it's the New York Jets and the New England Patriots. Patriots are now up to minus 12.5, Steve. It was minus 11.5 Tuesday morning.
Yeah, not much of a difference. I mean, games don't land 12. What there is a huge difference on, early in the week, we took Patriots first half minus 6.5, and now it's minus 7.5. And the difference between those two numbers, Ross, that's like the difference between shooting a bullet and throwing it. Don't want no New England minus 7.5.
So that's a big ass difference that we got in on.
Huge.
It's like a Wong teaser difference.
Exactly.
Okay, nice. As a reminder, Steve and I have minus 6.5 for the first half tonight. Obviously, Steve, you would not tell people to get in on that now that it's minus 7.5.
Yeah, I just advise my clients, if you can find a minus 7, you can still play it, but certainly not minus 7.5. Because think about it, I'm not sure, I don't know who's going to get the ball to start the game. It takes a lot to cover minus 7.5 if the Jets start with the ball.
All right, Steve, you said money keeps coming in on Miami. It's still showing minus 2.5 to me. You talked me out of doing a teaser leg for the Commanders at plus 8.5. Is it just the VIG that's changed?
Yeah, the VIG at DK, but in other leading indicator books, it's heading up to 3. And if you do like Miami, I'd encourage you all to lock in that minus 2.5. I do think it's going to close 3 everywhere.
All right, how about this one? The New York Giants. Money has come in on them. It went down from, they were getting 7.5, and now they're getting 7. The total was 43.5, or was 44.5. You and I got the under 44.5. Now it's 43.5. So another bet where we got a full point and a critical point. Big difference between 44.5, 43.5. Let's start with money coming in on the Giants from 7.5 down to 7. Because remember, we got the Packers as a teaser leg minus 1.5. Is that just the Jameis Winston effect, Steve?
I think it's a combo that the markets would like Dart better than either of the other two quarterbacks, but they hate Wilson. So they think that that's an upgrade with Winston. And frankly, I think the markets have digested that Green Bay performance, and they're just not trusting the Green Bay offense at all right now.
So that's why not only is it they're laying 7 now, but the total came down.
Yes. Because
Got
obviously
it.
Winston's an over quarterback.
Well, yeah, I mean, he's known for pick sixes, so they might get a touchdown in that way. All right, so that's another one that's very, very notable that went in our favor. The Texans, money's coming in on the Tennessee Titans. You know, it's now plus 6.5 for the Titans. They were getting 7.5. I was thinking about a teaser leg for the Texans minus 1.5. Glad I did not do that. The line is going the other way, Steve. Tell me about it.
Yeah, Davis Mills not to be trusted. That's like a 3.5 point downgrade from CJ Stroud. Still, maybe 3 points, and so the certainty of that Stroud's not going to play. Money poured on the Titans. Good spot for the Titans. Also, like I know NFL teams can only win 1 or 2 games, so this is a prime candidate of a game the Titans could indeed find a way to win.
Coming off a bye, very well rested. The Texans put everything into that comeback against the Jags. I would agree that there are a lot of indicators going that way. Chargers, Jags, that line looks the same. Bears, Vikings, that line looks the same. Panthers, Falcons, same. Seahawks, Rams, I think, is still the same. Oh, no, the Rams, they were laying 2.5. I took Seattle plus 8.5 as a teaser leg. That's gone up to Rams laying 3. That's interesting, Steve.
And I like the Rams at 3. And frankly, now I'm going to get greedy because the money, I don't understand this. I have these two teams pretty much dead equal. Home field's only worth 1.5. I'll be on Seattle, but now I'm holding out for plus 3.5. But if the game was about to kick off, I would bet right now, I would bet Seattle plus 3.
Got it. So you're waiting to see if it gets to 3.5. If it doesn't, you'll come in on the 3. That makes sense. Niners, Cardinals. I believe some money's coming on the Niners. Before they were favored by 2.5. Now they're favored by 3. Ravens, Browns. You and I took the under 41.5. That total's now down to 39.5, Steve. Another full point.
2 points.
2
and
points. Good math, Ross. Another full 2 points.
And 2 effing important points, too. 40 and 41. 41 is like the most important of all the numbers now that 37 almost has never dealt. Obviously, 4 touchdowns, 3 field goals. Cleveland's a different animal at home. Their defense gives up so much fewer points, and their offense can't score home or road.
Wow, so that's huge. I mean, again, it might not hit, but feeling pretty darn good about our closing line value thus far. That Chiefs-Broncos line is hanging at 3.5. Lions-Eagles has gone up a full point. I took the Lions getting 7.5. That wasn't good. They're now getting 8.5 in a teaser leg. The bet is actually the Eagles minus 2.5 is the against the spread line. What do you think about that one, Steve?
I think we nailed this one in that I think it might go up to 3. I mean, again, on Tuesday morning, I don't think the markets had digested enough how the Eagles were going to get upgraded for that solid performance. How can you be laying 1 in Lambeau and not be laying 3 hosting Detroit? I mean, Green Bay and Detroit, not much of a difference between the two, but where we really nailed it was the under. I believe it was 49.5 on Tuesday, and we did hit it. And I expect Philly absolutely will be emphasizing the run. As their wide receiver says, don't take me in fantasy. I dump me. We're a running team.
No change to the Cowboys and the Raiders, which means it's Dr. Chao time. Absolutely love our segment with Dr. David Chao every single week. Of course, Dr. Chao comes to us from SixScore.com. We've been telling you guys week in and week out about their unbelievable deals that they have for all of you. If you haven't checked it out yet, go to SixScore.com. 73% this season on their 3-star spread picks, which is insane. This week, they're so confident, they have a 3-star guaranteed pick of the week. What does that mean? If the pick doesn't win, they will refund you your weekly Sick Picks subscription. So anyway, sign up before kickoff, SixScore.com, SICScore.com. All right, Dr. Chao, let's talk turkey, or in your case, injuries. We've got Sunday morning over in Madrid, Commanders, Dolphins. Is there something that has caught your eye from a health standpoint there?
Yeah, both defenses are injured for the Washington Commanders, and we know about Miami Dolphins. Remember, when Jaden Daniels got hurt, Washington gave up a ton of points to the Seahawks, but the story became Jaden Daniels got hurt, and Washington's defensive injuries were under the radar. But they know they've got defensive injury issues, health injuries, and a suspension to deal with. Dan Quinn's taken over play calling. The defense has issues. It'll be the second week in the row the Dolphins face a banged-up defense. Banged up Bills last week and winning the game. That was a lot of offense for Miami against a banged-up defense. There seems to be a lot of offense this week. Miami's been injured a good part of the year, especially on defense, and it's unusual potentially to say Miami is favored by a little bit here on the road in Madrid. But then again, that's what the injuries say.
Ooh, okay. I like it. Part of the reason why the Dolphins are favored is the injury issue. The Commanders also just put Trey Amos, their corner rookie, on IR. We do have quarterbacks again on the concussion protocol. I think the Giants have already said Winston will start. And as of us recording this Thursday mornings, 9:45 a.m. Eastern Time, 6:45 for my guys out there on the West Coast. CJ Stroud did not practice yesterday, Dr. Chao.
Yeah. Look, on Sunday, when we do the podcast, end of Sunday, we already said at Six Score, Jackson Dart was almost assuredly out. That's have come true. And we said not so fast on CJ Stroud coming back. The reason why Dart was for sure basically out is by definition, he had prolonged symptoms. About 5 minutes of elapsed time from when he took that hit with the fumble head on the ground, the opposing team possession for the Bears, and then he played 2 plays before he got pulled and the team noticed symptoms. The irony here is the Giants / Dable seem to have handled the concussion protocol correctly this time, no blue tent issue, yet he got fired. I think, potentially you could look back and say, should the spotter in the sky buzz down? But because of the prolonged symptoms with Dart, that's why he wasn't going to get cleared this week, and the Giants know it, and they want to protect their asset. CJ Stroud, the DNP on Wednesday, is a big deal coming off a week missed already. This is why with the early rule out of CJ Stroud, we were questioning whether he would play this week. And right now it's leaning towards no, although this is a key day. If he cannot get to LP, he will not play this week, CJ Stroud.
Because that's the protocol, right?
Well, you have to get in an FP in order to play. But what are the chances that you can get to an FP on Friday with a DMP on Wednesday and Thursday, the second week off of concussion? It doesn't all of a sudden just ramp up. It's slow progression. And so today is very key. If it's not at least an LP, he is not going to play this week. It will be Davis Mills again.
All right, so this isn't really a betting question for the Even Money podcast, but every once in a while, I just am curious about it. Didn't something go wrong if Jackson Dart has a concussion and he went back in the game? I mean, something went wrong somewhere, right?
Well, look, I saw the hit in real time. I saw his head slam the turf. There was a question of whether he would get checked. He did not go into the blue tent. That doesn't mean Giants personnel didn't check on him on the sideline, okay? So there is a difference. We don't know that part of the story. But in theory, it is a failure of the system that potentially the spotter in the sky didn't buzz down, because there is video evidence of a potential reaction. Some people on social media said, oh, he's clearly knocked out. He didn't even try and get the ball. I'm not saying he's clearly knocked out, but there's certainly enough question there to have warranted a referee on the field or the spotter in the sky doing the buzz down. You can't say it's the fault of the Giants medical staff. They're across the field with their back to him 40 yards away from the play, and they don't necessarily see the reaction of Jackson Dart close up. but TV does. And so, yes, you could argue that. But I would say once they notice symptoms afterwards, the Giants staff seemed to have done the right thing in pulling him.
You have a big, bold headline in the email you sent me, Dr. Chao, for me to tee you up on. For the first time all year, the San Francisco 49ers are healthier than their opponent.
Absolutely. And this is shockingly true because the 49ers have been the most injured team in the league this season, yet sport a healthy record for the most part. Look, Brock Purdy is getting closer, but let me let your listeners in on this. By video analysis, and you can look at it yourself from his practice throws, he still is not completely pushing off that back right foot. In week 3, at halftime, we said this is not right. And he looks better than he did in week 3, but it's still not 100% for Brock Purdy. But even with that, San Francisco is the healthier side. Pearsall came back to practice, Ricky Pearsall, which is great, but you still can see him favoring that PCL right knee. In any case, Arizona is the more injured side. And look, Seattle is like, big game against the Rams, but careful there a little bit. Seattle did what? Played Washington 2 weeks ago, a banged up defense, and dominated. They did dominate. They played Arizona last week and dominated. And Arizona also had a banged up defense. And this is the banged up defense and offense now for Arizona with Zay Jones' Achilles that we saw in game, Marvin Harrison with the appendectomy, obviously Kyler Murray out, etc. So this is why San Francisco has the health edge for the first time this season.
Is the Brock Purdy situation, would you put that in the hiding behind health category, Dr. Chao, or no?
Well, I think, of course, with all the hiding behind health, the injuries have some basis. Brock Purdy, I don't put as much under hiding behind health because look at him at practice yesterday. He's still favoring the big toe. What that is Brock Purdy unable to drive the ball downfield, his accuracy down. Mac Jones gives them a better option. Now, would they have potentially put Brock Purdy back in if Mac Jones were flailing and doing horribly? Yes, the pressure ramps up, to play an 85% Brock Purdy. But yes, they're able to sit back a little bit because of it. But because the injury here is something that is real, that affects his not only mobility, but ability to drive the ball down the field, given its back foot, it's less of a classic hiding behind health for me. It's more factoring in Mac Jones's performance.
The last one is just the Eagles' offensive line. I think it was 3 or 4 starters were limited in practice yesterday. How concerning is that, Dr. Chao?
That is concerning, but I have to hand it to Lane Johnson. When he came back on the field, I was like, oh, he's an emergency use only guy. He's just the leader of the team. Good for him. He's back on the sideline. He's not going to play. And he actually returned to play late in that game. And, I'm sure you're watching the performance of the Eagles offensive line. They have a couple of issues there. I think Lane Johnson, usually makes the call. Landon Dickerson should. Cam Jurgens is in question. But you have to remember their opponent, Detroit, is banged up on defense too, including on the defensive line there. And believe it or not, Jalen Hurts actually indexes high this week, plus 26.3 for that game.
Make sure you go to sickscore.com to get on these guaranteed sick picks. I like that. If the pick doesn't win, you get your refund for your weekly sick pick subscription. Pretty awesome. You can check them out on social media as well at Pro Football Doc. Thank you so much, Dr. Chao.
Thank you, guys.
More great stuff right after this. Loving the ability to watch seemingly every game these days online with streaming services. There's a new one. Whether it's NFL Sundays or college football games like Big Noon Saturday, NASCAR, MLB postseason, and more, with Fox One, you get it all. Live, edge of your seat plays, jaw-dropping, high-octane moments, and that feeling like you're right in the action. I mean, listen, Super Bowls, NCAA games. I mean, think about all the stuff you can get. Fox One, we live for live. streaming now. All right, Steve, it's time for props, parlays, and some email questions from our listeners if we have time at the end. As a reminder, if you ever take advantage of any of the sponsors you hear on the show, but especially just getting that free estimate from westshorehome.com/Ross, you automatically go to the top of the list of specific email questions for Steve, which is great. Last week was not great for the props. Steve, it was okay, actually. It was 2-2 on the props, 0-2 on the parlays. You took the Steelers +3 plus the under against the Chargers. The under hit. Steelers +3 did not. Brock Bowers over 67.5 yards. I still can't believe that. I still can't believe they hardly ever threw him the ball. Ashton Genty under 55.5 yards. He went over, believe it or not. And so both of those props lost at -110. Troy Franklin over 39.5 yards. Oh my gosh, Steve. What did he get, 40?
He did, and that was an example on the drop-down menu. I did say this, play over 40 plus, and 40 wins. So we got unlucky because he dropped the ball and he got targeted plenty. But then we got lucky because he dropped the ball to get there.
You also had the Broncos are going to dominate parlay. Dobbins over 68.5 hit. Harvey over 22.5 did not. Genty under 55.5 did not. But you were all over Rome Odunze. They threw him the ball in the first 2 plays, I think. Over 5 receptions. Daddy getting mad worked. And so you nailed that one. 2-2 on your props last week, Steve. 0-2 on your parlays. As a reminder, we do grade the props. We do not grade the parlays for obvious reasons. All right. What about tonight? Any parlay or prop or anything tonight, Steve?
And we know you like parlays. I don't like parlays, so I don't actually bet them myself. I'm never going to get graded on something I don't personally bet. But if you do want to play a parlay, I like this one. We're going to play New England first quarter, -2.5. I think it's going to be a boat race. I think New England's going to crush the Jets tonight. And if New England's crushing the Jets, well, the Jets catching 3.5 in the fourth quarter is ridiculously a good wager, because I don't even know if the Jets should be the underdog if they're down 24 going in the fourth quarter. So it's +182. Going to parlay New England first quarter to Jets +3.5 fourth quarter.
All right. What about Monday Night Football? You're going back to the Brock Bowers well?
Yeah, so this is an Odunze type of handicap. Last week, Odunze bageled. No catches. He's their best receiver, and they fed him the rock. So a lot of criticism here in Vegas. Brock Bowers got 1 catch last week. Well, nobody got very many catches at all. But, I mean, he's the Raiders' weapon. And now they're playing against a Dallas team that you can do whatever you want against that defense. Similar to Odunze, I expect a whole lot of Bowers early in the game. I'm going to go over 71 reception yards.
Any other props this week, Steve?
Love Arizona. Trey McBride over. Should be in the mid-70s. The number's off the board now. We'll call it 75-ish. I would play it up to 80. Since Brissett has taken over, McBride has been an absolute stud. He's getting targeted 10-plus catches per game. He's averaged 82 the last 4 games. He has a very favorable matchup against a banged-up 49er defense, and Arizona's receiving core is banged up, so no reason not to think he gets fed even more. I do want to emphasize on these proposition bets, there are guys that specialize in every running back and backup running back, and I selectively look at teams, that I follow more and I look at more. So lower volume, but the stuff I'm giving out I think is quite good.
Zay Jones, torn Achilles. Marvin Harrison Jr., appendicitis. Neither will play, so I like that one. I got to ask you this question. I think I forgot to ask you on Tuesday. I was delirious from no sleep. What did you think of Sirianni going for it on 4th and 6 from the 36, I guess it was?
Horrendous, and the best evidence is you ask their opponent, what should you do? And you're like, please don't punt. If you punt down to the 10-yard line, I'm dead. There's no way I'm going to have time to get into field goal range. So he should have just try to draw him offside, take the penalty, punt the ball down the 10-yard line. Game's over. You win 97% of the time. When you go for it, you only win like 90%. It was a mistake.
Wow. Interesting, Steve. All right. Real quick, we did get an email from my guy Joseph. He had Eagles plus 8.5 on a teaser leg. Then he bet back Green Bay when they were -1, giving himself a nice middle. Was that good process?
Good process, bad execution. Should have had Green Bay +1, get more outs. We always emphasize tons of outs, Ross, and that's how I agree with him directionally.
God, agrees with you directionally, Joseph, but you understand. By the way, can't emphasize this enough. Patreon.com/RTmedia. Make it easy on yourselves for $10. Be able to see every bet we make, every result, all there on Grade's spreadsheet. He's at Fezzik Sports. I'm at Ross Tucker NFL. Good luck, everybody. Hope you guys win some money this weekend.
Thanks for tuning in to Even Money. Make sure to also check out the Ross Tucker Football Podcast, Fantasy Feast, and College Draft, all on the DraftKings Network, YouTube, or subscribe to the podcast on your favorite platform.